Hello everybody, glad you could see me again today, this Wednesday here in Atlanta, Georgia. The answer to the question, the title question, is yes, the police are necessary for individual rights. They're absolutely necessary. And if we had a constitution that honored individual rights, then we would have great police. One of the questions that gets asked a lot is, are the police good or bad? And there's two answers to that question. One is being a police officer is an occupation. It's a job, just like any job in the country, more important for our rights. But individual police officers are either good or bad, just like anybody in a workplace. And so you're going to get bad ones, you're going to get good ones. My guess is that most of them, the predominance of them, are actually really good guys. I don't know what that is. 75, 80, 85% of them. There's going to be a lot of people who disagree with me on that, but I think generally speaking, they do think they're out there protecting, and they're trying to protect, trying to abide by the law for the most part. So, what causes so many problems then in this country is not necessarily the individual police officers. I would say probably more than 90% are actually doing their job pretty well. What causes the problem is actual laws themselves. You've got good police officers abiding by bad laws. And so the problem is not police officers. When there is problems with police officers, it's not usually a bad police officer, it's bad laws. So the thing that has to happen so that we have our rights to our bodies and our properties and our mind and our actions and our money, like I've said before, is that we need laws that honor our individual rights. But right now on the books, the police are out there executing laws and being occupied with doing things they shouldn't be doing, which is hassling us in our cars, in our homes, in our workplaces. And some of those laws are, frankly, have been around for a long time. They should be eliminated. And I'm talking about drug laws, alcohol laws, the government control of roads, which is a law that the government can own roads and be in charge of roads. And that, of course, leads to bad laws concerning speed limits, seat belts, driver's licenses, driver's license plates, car insurance, and even exhaust laws, where we have to get our exhaust checked. So, and then you have other ones that include illegal immigrants. I'll get to some of these here in a minute, but you have illegal immigrants, property taxes and other taxes, property codes on renovations and construction, loitering, gun laws, nudity laws, and bad language laws. So you have the police out there, and they've got this list of laws that they're driving around in their cars, and they're on the lookout. Excuse me. They're on the lookout for people who are speeding, people who are drinking alcohol or under the influence, people who may have drugs, people who don't have gun licenses, or they have a gun in the car or in the trunk or whatever. That's none of their business. In a free country, that's none of their business. They shouldn't be even thinking about those kinds of things. What they should be doing is being out there on private roads, private highways, looking for people who are actually dangerously driving. Whether they're drinking or not doesn't matter. They're just dangerously driving. That's what a good police officer in a good constitutional system would be doing. So, for instance, if we had a free country, a truly free country, where individual rights were honored, and I pulled up next to a cop on a road, and I got my Budweiser next to me. I don't drink Bud, but let's just call it a Budweiser. So I got a Budweiser next to me, a can. I look over at the cop. I'm drinking my can of Bud. Cold can of Bud. I'm drinking. I look over, nod my head. He looks over at me in a free country, and says, man, can't wait till I get off work. I'm going to be right there with you. And I go, hey, can't wait for you to get off so you can enjoy your bud after you get off work in your car. Have a great day. He looks back at me and says, have a great day. I just finished work. I'm having a bud. I weigh a little bit over 160 pounds. So one Budweiser, 2 Budweisers is not going to affect my driving. That's the way it's supposed to be. Instead, if he sees me drinking or happens to see something in the car, a half-drunk can or whatever, he can pull me over. Let's say I had a hard day at work, my eyes are red. He's like, okay, you're going to do a sobriety test. We've got now a cop doing something he's not supposed to be doing, and that is violating my rights to my time and my property. I am now having to undergo a police state simply because I've got a half a brew in my car, or half a glass of wine or whatever in my car, or even a shot of whiskey. And the same thing goes for drugs. Man, if I want to smoke a joint, I don't anymore. But if I did, then that's my business. You know, it's not his business. In fact, even if I smoke an entire one while he's watching, that's none of his business. If he's driving and he sees me swerving, dangerously swerving, then he can pull me over. But then it's not about arresting me for smoking a joint, smoking a J. It's arresting me because I'm actually potentially harming the individual rights of other citizens. That's the way it's supposed to work. So the cops are supposed to be out there looking for people who are actually endangering others. And this, again, getting back to roads, does not have to do with speed limits, which are just a bogus way of governments to get extra cash. They're not about safety. I mean, I don't know how many tickets I've gotten in my lifetime for driving 12 miles or 13 miles or 15 miles over a speed limit. I'm not endangering anybody. I mean, those of you watching right now, all of you break the law. My grandma, before she passed away 10 years ago, my grandma drove 1 or 2 miles over the speed limit, and it made her nervous, but she broke the law. She could have been pulled over. She never was. She never got a ticket. But the fact is, even the grandmas can't obey the speed limit. Everybody out there on the road breaks the speed limit so bad that the cops don't even really pull you over in most jurisdictions unless you're going 10 or more over the speed limit. Everybody knows that, so most everybody drives 8 miles over the speed limit like I do. So there should be no speed limits. The cops should only pull you over if you are actually driving so fast, swerving in and out, whatever, but you legitimately, objectively driving so fast that you are actually endangering other people. And that could be 25 miles over the speed limit. It could be 10 miles over the speed limit if it's really rainy and you're going in and out of traffic. I don't know, but it's an objective standard. But it gets the cops off of the roads thinking about pulling people over and taking their hard-earned money away from them for simply driving at 10 or 12 or 15 or 16 miles over the speed limit or whatever it is. It gets them out of the speed limit business, and it gets them into a mindset where they're actually truly trying to protect citizens. That's a proper state of police, not a police state. It's a state, it's a mindset for police to protect us. It says serve and protect. That's what they're supposed to do. They're not supposed to hassle. I wish I could come up with a good phrase there. Hassle and steal. Cops are good, generally speaking. They're probably just as good as you and me. But these laws, these bad laws, turn them into, unfortunately, bad people, whether they know it or not. And I think most of them don't know it. So hopefully they're watching right now. And the other laws, illegal immigrants. We've got a lot of Hispanics here in Atlanta. I don't know if they're illegal or legal. I mean, I don't know what percentage that is, but a lot of them are in shopping centers. They want to do, day labor. But that's against the law here. I guess all of it is against the law. I don't know if they're potentially illegal. Well, I use these guys sometimes to do yard work for me or other things. When I pull up, they're suspicious. They shouldn't have to worry about that. It's not the government's job to determine whether somebody is illegal or legal. Frankly, it shouldn't even matter. If you're in this country, you're in this country. That's a whole other subject, and I know that's controversial, but they shouldn't even worry about it. The cops should drive by and think, hey, somebody is going to get, some good workers on his property. So, and the same thing goes for loitering, gun laws. That it's not the cop's job to determine whether somebody should have a gun or not. Nudity laws are insane and stupid. Bad language laws, the same thing. And property taxes and property codes, the government telling you that they're going to tax you for your property. Essentially, your property is not even yours, and they can bring the police in to collect those taxes or even be in charge of the property while you get kicked off the property because you didn't pay your taxes. If you're adding a kitchen to your house and the government says no, they can bring the police to your door on that. These are not things that the police should have to be doing. They should be out there catching true criminals who are actually doing thievery, robbery, assaulting, sexual assaults, everything else. So that's what the police should be doing. And if we had a constitution that honored individual rights, and we got rid of these laws, then all of us would look at police in a much different light. We wouldn't be constantly looking around for them while we're driving, if we're driving over the speed limit, or if we have a beer in the car. We would instead see them as our friends. We would naturally approach them. And it would also attract the kind of person that wants to truly protect us all the time. So I think at that point, we could probably say 99% or 100% of cops are good. We like them. And it would change the entire perception of police, who are necessary to protect us in a state or country that honors individual rights.